G'day there, Chris from the Headache and Pain Management Centre, and today we're talking about another myth about pain for National Pain Week. And today's myth that is out there quite a bit is that medication is the best thing to treat your chronic pain. And obviously that is a massive myth perpetuated by a lot of drug companies over the years, and today we're going to bust that myth, smash it right out of the park. If you're joining us, type in below and say hello, and feel free to ask any questions in the comments and we can get back to you from there. So one of the biggest myths out there, and this comes from back in the 90s when there was a really big push for opioid medications to be the first line of defense for chronic pain. There was actually a big class action over in the United States a couple of years ago now, where the biggest company that was advertising these opioid medications actually got slapped with $1 billion fine, huge number, with basically talking about selling fake treatment, like saying that these opioid medications don't have any harms, they're the panacea for chronic pain, but it's actually turned out with the research over time that these medications can make your chronic pain worse. So these medications, they're your morphines, they're your panadines, they're your opioid medications, which has now been shown that it's great for acute type pain, but actually terrible for chronic type pain because it makes you more addicted. Now here's one thing that you might not know about opioid medications. Opioid medications, you might believe or might think, actually targets the site of where the pain is. So if you've got chronic back pain, if you've got a chronic whiplash injury or chronic migraines or things like that, you might think that the opioid medications are targeting the pain site, the part where the pain actually, where you feel it. But what the research is now showing about these opioid medications is that it more targets the emotional centers of the brain. Okay, now this might come as a bit of a surprise, so just hear me out. In your brain, there's actually two really key areas that light up when you have pain. One part of the brain is sort of related to where the pain is, where you feel it, so in your hand or your back or your neck or something like that. And then of course there's a part of the brain that lights up the emotional part of the brain. Okay, so what the pain actually feels like to you, like what emotional kind of response you should have with that pain. So often you can have pain where it feels good, believe it or not. So I'm thinking more people like marathon runners that are training very hard, people that are training for the Olympics. Obviously their training is very painful, it makes them feel sick, it feels like their muscles are really burning. But that pain is interpreted as good pain, even though it's the same type of pain as what you would get when it's negative. Say for example, when you've got that really bad back pain, that really bad neck pain. It's actually the emotional part of your brain that tells us whether the pain feels good or if the pain feels bad. Now what these opioid medications do is that they target this part of the brain, the emotional part of the brain, so it actually makes you feel good when you take that opioid medication. Think of if you've been in an ambulance before after having a broken arm or some really bad pain and they give you the green stick to have a suck on. Basically what that medication is an opioid medication that makes you feel a bit high, a bit dopey. Obviously the tissue damage is still there, but you don't quite care as much. In fact, you're a bit off with the theories a little bit. This is what opioid medication does over a long period of time, is it actually targets that emotional side of the brain rather than anything physical. Now the impact of that is basically that when you take this for a long period of time, it becomes addictive. You need to take it to feel like you need to keep going. You need to take it in order to get on with your day. Now, I'm not talking about the people who do have chronic pain that is intractable due to a nerve injury, due to a severed nerve, a crush injury, something like that, where they might need a low dose opioid just to keep going. What I'm talking about here is the people that might have had a whiplash injury, that might have hurt their back bending something over, and there's nothing that has come up on the scans, there's nothing significant there, and there's no surgery that can help out this chronic pain that's at a medium level. When you have opioid medications, it actually sensitizes your nerves more and may actually cause more issues than you think. Now, what to do about that if you're weaning off your opioid medication? Well, what we've shown is that actually getting stronger and getting more efficient movement is a good place to start. So getting stronger through your back, stronger through your neck, stronger through your muscles is a really good idea. Also learning about the other things that can cause pain as well. So your psychological factors. Are you under a lot of stress at work? Are you getting enough sleep? Is your diet right? Are you doing all of these different things that can actually give you a bit of a leg up compared to what you were like before? And also the social factors as well. So the things that you're missing out on as a result of your pain. The anxiety of needing to go around with a bottle of pills in your bag so you can get through your day. All of these sorts of things all can meld together to create a very negative pain experience. And if you're just using those pain medications to keep going, and you haven't really done more of the active measures, you know, the way that you think, the way that you move, getting stronger, then you haven't given yourself the best chance to have long-term relief moving forward from there. So one of the myths for National Pain Week is, of course, that medication is the only way to solve chronic pain. We now know that's a myth from 25 years ago that was sort of pushed forward by drug companies to get them to buy their product, whereas we now know that there are a lot of other different ways that we can actually get pain to wind down. Talk to your doctor, talk to your physiotherapist, talk to your pain specialist about other things and other means that you can try so that you can wean off that opioid medication and take control back of your life and your body. I hope that's been really useful, and we'll see you again tomorrow for another video for National Pain Week. Cheers and bye for now.